What's going on, everybody? Sean Pierce Johnson here, and welcome to another episode of Cooking with CEO. Today, Ratatouille. No, not Rat-Patootie, Ratatouille. And not the Disney Pixar movie. I'm talking the rustic French, I guess, dish. So, here's what we're gonna do. We are going to chop up a bunch of veggies, we're gonna roast them and bake them, and it's gonna be delicious. So, let's take it down to the ingredients. First up, we have 1 red, 1 green bell pepper, some eggplant, Italian squash aka zucchini, and yellow squash. Then we have 1 onion, and as much garlic as you can handle. We're going to follow that up. 2 cans of diced tomatoes. They don't necessarily have to be from Sprouts. They could be anywhere, and they don't necessarily have to be non-GMO verified, but, I mean, come on, let's do it right here. And then they don't even have to have seasoning. They can be whatever you want, but we're going to use 2 whole cans. Other than that, the only other ingredients we're going to need are some good extra virgin olive oil and some salt and some pepper. Now, the hardware. You are going to need your knife and your honing device. No, this is not a sharpener. It is a honing device. I will show you how to use that in a minute. You are going to need a nice clean cutting board for your veggies only, please. We don't cross-contaminate here. 1 preferably glass baking dish, about yay big. See? And of course, your oven, which you are going to start by heating to 400 degrees Fahrenheit. Now we're ready to chop. First thing you are going to chop are your peppers, your zucchini, your squash, and your eggplant. But also, wash your veggies. And now we chop. You want them not too big, not too small. This is going to be kind of like a stew. Sort of. Kinda. Not really. I don't know. Anyway. But you want them like good-sized chunks. Next, the red pepper. And again, you want them about the same size. You don't need to be too fancy. You can be kind of rough and tumble with this one. This is supposedly a very rustic dish, like French countryside kind of deal. So, give it the rustic treatment. And besides, we're a rock band. We're not professional chefs. We're just a rock band that likes good food. Now, I cut the eggplant much different than I cut, say, the zucchini or the squash. I like to try to go for cubes, but, you know, as cube-like as I can get it. So what I do is this, kind of go down the eggplant like that, separate them off, then make little spears. See? Kind of like that. Then, once I'm done there, then you make your cubes. And of course, they're not going to be perfect, but hey, this stomach knows not ugly. Now you're going to need the 1 zucchini. Now with this, I like to go with half circles. And to do that, split it in half, and then just go down the length. There you go. It's a pretty easy veggie to cut, thankfully. Now on to our yellow squash. Now, yellow squash, of course, is going to be a lot bigger than a zucchini. So, I like to go in quarters with this guy. When I make this, this kind of has a bit of a hodgepodge of different shapes and textures, and it's okay. Now that we've got everything chopped up, first thing you're going to do, of course, with clean hands, is kind of toss everything around in the baking dish. And the reason that you're doing this is because you're not going to get many opportunities in the cooking process to stir this up. Everything's going to kind of stay where it is for most of its cooking time. So you want everything to kind of be evenly distributed, or as evenly as you can get it. Maybe break down some of the larger pieces with your hands. But once you've got everything mixed up, then we come to the seasoning portion of the program. Extra virgin olive oil with a light or not so light drizzle across the top. A couple good sized pinches of salt. I like to use kosher salt, but you can use whatever salt that you prefer. Enough to kind of get most of it. And then black pepper. Plenty of black pepper. Fresh cracked if you can, but hey. If all you got is the little shaker at home, no big deal. Heck, you could even use those little packets that come at fast food places if you want. But now that we've got everything seasoned and now that we've got everything chopped up, we're going to chalk this into the 400-degree oven. And we're going to roast it for 20 minutes. Now, there's plenty of other stuff to do while we wait. Now, while we wait for our first round of veggies to finish roasting, we can take care of some of the other chopping that we need to do. As in our 1 onion and as much garlic as you can handle. I've got, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 cloves. Enough to kind of get distributed throughout the whole batch. So, we chop. This one might be a little rough. And just as you cut, you're making little, tiny, chopped chunks. They're going to stick together, of course, but you can kind of get in there with your hands and break them up later. See? Just like that. Alright, now we cut the garlic. First thing you're going to need to do is chop off the sort of stem end where it attaches to the bowl, because that is hard, that is rough, and it doesn't taste very nice now, does it, Precious? Excuse me. And that doesn't taste very good now, does it, Precious? I think that's a little bit more appropriate. So, we chop. Alright. And now that we've chopped, we bring it all together and we mince. Or we try to bring it all together and we mince. Time's up. Alright, that's looking good. We're going to take this out briefly. And then I'm going to add in our onions and our garlic. And then, with a spoon, please remember, this is hot. And a towel to grab so it doesn't slide. You can kind of break up some of those bigger onion chunks. Mix that in with the veggies that have already been roasting. Okay, so once that's all incorporated and it looks somewhat evenly distributed, we're going to hit this again with another olive oil drizzle. And again, nice-sized pinches of salt, and some cracked black pepper. Now you're probably thinking, like, that is probably going to be way too much salt, and that is going to be way too much pepper. Trust me, I've made this many times. And the salt is actually doing something really nice, and it's kind of helping get some of the moisture out of the veggies so that their sugars start to caramelize and they kind of get that sweetness. Now we're going to stick this back in the oven for another 20 minutes. Alright, we are done with our second roast. It's looking good. Go ahead and stir all that up a bit. Get some of the drier pieces down the bottom. There's lots of moisture down there. Also help get the salt and pepper going through everything nicely. That looks good. Alright, now it's time for the final ingredient. The 2 cans of diced tomatoes. Luckily, these are very easy to open. Now this is just me, but I like to go juices and all. Just try to get them all on there. Here we go. Go. Yeah, that looks good. Smells good too. Alright. Now we can put those in recycling, please. Now I do have a little bit of a secret ingredient. Tomato sauce, you know, jarred pasta sauce. Just a little bit to make the tomatoes on top a little thicker. And just for some extra added flavor. And kind of lightly mix those together on top. Very good. Alright. I'm going to hit this one more time. A sprinkle of salt. Keep this one, go, and a little bit more of that cracked black pepper. Or a lot of it. And then we go back into the oven for our last roast. This time, 15 minutes. And in about 10 minutes, we'll be ready to throw our bonus item into the oven. I told you about the bonus item. It's ciabatta. It doesn't matter if you bake it from scratch or you buy it from the bakery at the store. Fresh bread is fresh bread, and that's a good thing. So, we're going to take this out of the paper plastic thing and place it right on the rack for the remainder of the cooking time. Our roast is done. And by roast, I don't mean roast, I mean we're done roasting the veggies, if you've been following along. And there it is. Our finished ratatouille. I'm going to put that down so I don't burn myself with the towel. And then we have our ciabatta bread, which I am going to wrap nicely in this towel. There you go. Ratatouille. Pretty simple. Nothing to it. You can go ahead and spoon this out right on a plate. You can go ahead and do what we're going to do. And I'm going to take some nice slices of that ciabatta bread, throw that right on top. You can eat it in a sandwich, eat it on top of pasta, or just eat it straight. It's pretty versatile stuff, and it's delicious. So, there you have it. Ratatouille, not just a Disney movie. See you next time.